When I was talking to my wife told me, I said, I'm believing God for some increase. And they would call about the overtime at my job, but I would always turn it down. They would offer me overtime, and I always would turn it down. And then my wife said, Lady Lisa, she said, baby, you know, a friend of mine told me your increase is your overtime. I never looked at it like that. I tried to put it in a certain box, how I wanted it to happen. But when she gave me that analogy, it opened my mind to something I never thought about. You know, sometimes we got to be exposed to something that we never seen to get somewhere we never been. Sometimes you got to get exposed to something you never seen to get somewhere you never been. I was at the school, one of my high schools today, and they introduced me to the welding teacher. And but when I gave the young lady my card so she can call and tell them I was there, she said, well, can I keep the card? I said, well, sure. And she said, because my son's a junior, he loves to weld. I said, you sure can. And she introduced me to the teacher. So when I went back there to talk to the teacher, he says to me, I only got sophomores. Let me introduce the teacher that teaches the seniors. Did you hear what I said? He took me to somebody else. And then when I got there, he says, let's see what you got, what day you got. I said, let me look at my calendar. I got this day. He said, school going to be closed that day. What other day you got? I said, he said, let's book it right now. Didn't say call me. He said, let's book it right now. And then he says, you got to go to our other school and do it there too. I'm going to send an email to the head guy over there and let him know. So I'm walking out the building, getting ready to leave. I run into the CTE coordinator for the whole school. She says, I didn't get one of your cards. I said, I didn't know this school was this big. The school is massive. And I said, I'm walking through the gate. I'm like, I had no idea what all this behind it. I mean, it just went like, woof. And I was like, oh, my God. She said, oh, yeah, we got a natorium. And I'm like, whoa. I don't know if that's a swimming pool thing or not. I know it's something, but it was something like you only see at big fancy schools. And I'm like, oh, y'all got a natorium? Whole big building, whole natorium building by itself. I said, ooh. I looked at the football stadium. It was, somebody look it up. Y'all know what it is? Ain't that the swimming thing?
What you were talking about?
The natorium is school, right?
Yeah.
They got a big old building for the pool separated from the high school. I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm walking around like, they got two cafeterias. And they got a cafeteria. It said the underground cafeteria. That's what I thought it was. Indoors. I said, oh, that's the underground cafeteria down there. I go to the other school, it's the other big cafeteria. I said, oh my God, who would have thought it? So what I'm saying is, you don't know who. So it's always good to be in your right frame of mind to introduce yourself to somebody the right way. Does that make sense? Because it's not about what you know, sometimes about who you know. Because you don't know who. The Bible said God will raise up somebody somewhere. That's what we pray. We give offering with the power, ability, and influence to help us. But the Bible said the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just. That means somebody don't know God got your money. And the only way they're going to give it to you, they got to meet you or meet somebody that know you, that's heard your vision and want to sow seed into your vision. Are y'all hearing me? But if you don't know what your vision is and you ain't got nothing wrote down and you ain't got stuff wrote out in black and white, then how they going to come see what you ain't got wrote down? It's all in your head and don't nobody know nothing. You're saying? What we saying? What Pastor was saying? Write it down. You should not. You should not be going nowhere talking about. I never heard that to write stuff down. Because I always ask you where your notebook is. You got to have a notebook by your bed. So when God gives you an idea, you sleep, wake up, whoop, write it down. Now we got notes in our phone. Got no excuse. I'm learning how to use my notes now. I'm writing notes in my phone. I wake up, I write them on a notepad. No excuse. All right, amen. We good? We ready? Let's go. We're not going to be before you long. A few things. Here's the word for the day. Huh? She was talking about going to turn to do.
I'm trying to figure out the name of the school.
Exactly. I know what you're doing. You know what you're That's why I ignored you. Because you don't have a car, so you can't drive. We're going to talk about tonight, focusing to regain hope. Focusing to regain hope. Focusing to regain hope. We're talking about focus all this new year. I think this might be the last piece. I think it might have one more after this. I think this might be, one more after this. Oh, next week gonna be good. Focusing on our purpose is next week. Ooh. Focusing to regain hope. Why do we gotta regain something? Why do we gotta regain hope? Because you done lost it. Yeah. Newsflash, it's been happening before we got on earth. Our ancestors lost hope. The Bible days folk lost hope. So we got to regain it back. So if it's something that's regainable, it must be something that we need. Turn to Jonah 2:7.
What, Jonah?
Jonah 2:7. Newsflash, Jonah's in the Old Testament. You gotta have a sense of humor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jonah is after Obadiah, before Micah. You got Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah. I know it's not somewhere you always go all the time. That's why Pastor helping you out. Because I'm a team player. I know some of y'all got it on your phone, so you're already there. But for those that's not using our phone, using our Bible, it takes a little longer. Jonah 2:7. That's where we're going. Rita, you ready? Yeah, Rita. I love y'all give my Rita a hand clap. I love my Rita. He gotta know by now he got to stay ready, so he ain't gotta get ready. Jonah 2:7, read that for the reader.
When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came unto thee, into thine holy temple.
Let me read down to 5. When my soul fainted upon me, crushing me, I earnestly and seriously remembered the Lord, and my prayer came to you into your holy temple. Now, you know when Jonah said this? Jonah said that he got swallowed by the big fish. He was inside the fish saying this. Focusing to regain hope. Because he thought he was in a hopeless situation. But here's the thing. Why did Jonah get in this situation anyway? Because Jonah did what we do. Disobedient. Well, God, I don't want to go tell them that because I don't want to get in no trouble with them, so I'm just not going to go. So God said, so the other ones, you telling me you're not going to do what I told you to do. Who all have been in one of them where God told you to do something and you still did what you wanted to do?
Yes, indeed.
I'm gonna raise both my hands, I can't put up both my feet because I can't jump in there and do all that, but both my hands. So we've all been in a situation where God done told us to do something and we did what we wanted to do. And then once we get in that situation, God help me. Because that's what Jonah did. Did he not do that?
Yeah.
That's what he said. It says, when my soul fainted within me. That sounds like a hopeless situation to me. Say his soul fainted. That's pretty serious. That means it got so dire that he didn't think he was going to make it out alive. His soul fainted. He gave up all reality and said, well, I'm going to just die in here because of my disobedience. Within me, but he remembered the Lord. Don't you know that's one of the biggest tricks of the enemy to make you, when you're in your most strangest, most trying time, to make you not want to think about God.
Right.
You got to remember, even though you missed it, God ain't stopped loving you. He still loves you in your missed moment.
Hallelujah.
And that's why I told y'all, I don't like that song, God of a Second Chance. Because when it's 2 chances, I've been done a long time ago.
Okay.
We got to be real, because some of us don't have so many chances, you just don't stop counting.
All right now.
Stop counting. But the good thing about God is, listen, God don't keep track of how many times you missed it.
Thank you, Lord.
Thank you.
That's why he said, when you ask for forgiveness, he throws it into the sea of forgiveness. He don't remember the misses no more. Woo! Thank God we got a God that ain't keeping count. Because some of our stuff is showing up lopsided. 200 to 2. The 2 times you was obedient out of 200 times, you missed it.
Wow.
And what I like about God is, most of the time, before you miss it, God always warns you. You don't just miss it. He always warns you. Don't do it. Or somebody said, I meant to tell you not to go sunset, but I figured you weren't going to go anyway. And you be like, oh, why you didn't tell me?
Okay.
See, God already knows. That's why he said, I have fainted. There's another scripture says, I have fainted unless I have believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You supposed to see the goodness of the Lord now, not after you dead and gone.
Yeah.
People always say, well, it's hell down here. Baby, this ain't hell. This is not hell. I promise you, I don't want to see it. Let's just be clear. I like reading about it, and I'm good. That's enough to keep fearing the kid. But it's a never-ending torment.
Yes.
That's why we got to focus on regaining your hope. And then here's the thing about Jonah, how good God is. You have to be able to figure out what made you lose hope in the first place. Because if you don't know what made you lose hope, you're apt to do it again. That's why I love history. You got to know what happened in the past so you don't make them same mistakes again. So when we find ourselves getting in a situation, what got you here?
Yeah.
What did you do? What did you do to get you where you at right now? And I was telling one of them, I said, listen, I tell everybody, I tell my boys, I said, I got 4 of them. I said, there's no maximum range of excuse is 0. Anybody can make an excuse. Anybody. And it's easy to make excuses. Well, I was late for church because I got off work late. Okay. Got it. What back in mind? What about that hour plus you weren't doing nothing but playing on your phone? When you could have been doing work. What about, I ain't had time to pray. Got it? What about that 45 minutes you was on Facebook? And then add that 10 minutes you was on Instagram, Snapchat, laughing and giggling. What about that 20 minutes you gave to TikTok? Because you can't just look at one video. They always going to send you one similar, and you find something, strolling across. Now, them 20 minutes turn 2 hours. And you be like, Lord, what a day went. Now it's time to go to bed. You gotta see, that's why you're talking about focusing to regain hope. So what caused you? What caused you to miss it? See, because Jonah realized where he was at. He said his soul had fainted. So he realized now that he was in a situation that it looked like he was not going to make it out of, that he had missed it. And he had time to reflect on all the stuff happened in his missing moment. You can always make excuses why you missed it. I missed it because so-and-so did this. I'm in a situation because so-and-so did that. If they would have did this, I would have did that. Okay.
Come on.
And we all can do
The
that.
real.
Let's be clear. If we write down how much time we made excuse for us doing something somebody else did it. You know, I would have passed my test if they would have had the right answer when I was coming out their paper.
Oh, wow.
Listen, I had to tell one of my students. I said, when I was teaching in high school, I said, if you're going to cheat, at least don't write the person's name in your spot. They wrote the person's name on the paper. They wrote the person's name and cheated in the spot where it said name.
Stupidity.
I said, it's bad enough you cheated. I can look and see that, but you don't wrote the person's name. You know, yeah.
In the name?
Yeah, man. I can't make this stuff up. I said, this one time I wish I could give you 2 zeros, but one is enough for you. Copied out the person's paper, wrote that person's name on the paper, so when I came and picked the paper up, I'm like, why your name on 2 papers? What you mean, Mr. Mathews? I said, your name on this. They was like, what do you mean? I said, y'all, everybody else can have a good day, and you just stay in class. We got to conversate. I'm like, you bad enough to cheated, but you wrote their name on your paper. Because I go by and pick the papers up, so now you can't say it with them.
Oh, that's a dumb.
Terrible thing. That's why I don't tell you, common sense is not common. Stop saying, this common sense. Common sense ain't common. Because that didn't make no sense, that one.
That doesn't make no sense.
Stupidity.
What were these kindergarten?
No, this was high schoolers. These were not kindergarten. These were high schoolers. And I'm like, Lord, this better be the one leading the nation. I said, wow. I said, oh, my God. I said, no, I ain't saying that. Now, Pastor ain't saying I ain't never cheated in hospital. I'm not saying that.
But you ain't write nobody else's name.
But I ain't write the person's name, and I at least missed a few of the questions.
Yes.
You know, I'm okay with getting my seat, but you ain't had 100 all year. And you gonna try to get 100. 100 ain't nothing you ever made.
Okay.
I'm just saying. So what Jonah realized was, let's get back to Jonah. Lord. He said, within me I remember the Lord, and my prayer came in unto me. What are you praying? Says prayer came into him. So what are you praying for? What are you hoping for? What are you believing for? What are you focusing on? This is some serious stuff here.
Yes, indeed.
See, because some of us praying and you wonder why my prayers ain't getting answered. It ain't that God don't hear them, but we've been disobedient to the first thing God told you to do. If you can't do the simple stuff, and you expect God to give you some big stuff, you can't handle the little stuff. You know, thank God God is not complicated. He's real simple. We make God complicated. God, you want me to? God said, no, I just want you to be obedient. Just show up to work. I'm going to send somebody here. Just show up. I know you got a new position, but just show up. I will send you to help, to train. But I don't know. Just show up. And he always sends somebody to help you when you do your part by showing up. Drove way out there. Clocked in, right?
Had a good attitude.
Wasn't mad. Wasn't complaining because drove out there. Got paid for driving back. You better see God in this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because they could have been like, clock out when you leave and clock back in and get over there. But you got paid from driving to the other location.
Oh, yeah.
That's a God moment. It don't make sense. But God. It makes purpose to them. Say, you deserve this. I got you. He gives us what it, and other folks said, well, you don't deserve that, baby. That's favor.
Right.
I put in work for favor to show up in my life. It don't show up on accident. It shows up because of my obedience. So favor shows up around me. And everybody that's connected to me, that's connected got favor on them because they connected to me, and because I'm connected to the vine, favor showed up in their life.
Thank you, Jesus.
Jonah said, but he remembered. So next time you find yourself in a situation asking why, remember the last time God brought you out. See, it's easy to talk about I don't know, but every time I think about I don't know, God always reminds me. Remember this time when this happened? Remember when you didn't have no food? A dog didn't show up, but somebody called. And when you took them, they blessed you and filled your refrigerator and your freezer to overflow. And then told you to get some more when you tried to stop.
Yes, Lord.
I had to remember. It was a God moment. And then when I tried to tell them no thanks, no, you at least let God had to make they had to make me let them bless me. Ain't that crazy? You know you ain't got it. I'm anointing the cabinets. I'm anointing the refrigerator. I'm telling you, Facebook, God, they all my cabinets full, all the refrigerators full to overflow. The person shows up on to bless you, and you turn down the blessing. And then say, God said, I sent the blessing. And you sent the blessing back. I said, God, it won't happen again. I had to learn how. See, you got to learn how to receive. Sometimes it's hard for a giver to receive. I'm a giver, so it's hard, but not no more. I receive. I receive. I receive. It's a learned behavior. So Jonah had to realize, he said, and my prayer came in unto me. I like this part. Into thy holy temple. Romans 12, 1 and 2. Turn that read and read that for me. Romans 12, 1 and 2. Romans the 12th chapter, the first and second verse. You ready to read it? Read from the reader. Read.
Blessed you thereof, brother.
Huh?
The mercies of God.
I beseech thee.
I beseech.
Uh-huh.
I beseech you therefore, brother,
Uh-huh.
by the mercies of God,
Uh-huh.
that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
Stop right there, reader. Don't lose it. Keep thinking that. See, you heard what Jonah said. Jonah said, into thine holy temple. The only way you can be a holy temple, you got to present yourself. It causes for you to make a sacrifice. You got to make a sound decision to say, I'm going to present myself to God to be holy. You can't accidentally do it. You can't do it every now. It's got to be a concentrated, focused effort. Did you hear what I said? A concentrated, focused effort to present your body a living sacrifice. Sound like you were gaining focus to me on hope. What you doing? Read, reader.
And be not conformed to this world.
Uh-huh.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Stop reading. Jonah was inside the belly of the fish. His mind was being transformed in the midst of the fish. Because he said, I have remembered. That means God had to change his mind from that I'm in a situation I'm going to die to no, you're not going to die. You got to remember, he had to transform his mind. When the last time your mind been transformed, renewed?
Let's go.
When the last time?
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm gonna go through that.
Huh?
Hope I'm gonna go through that.
But sometimes God has to allow something drastic to happen to folk to get their minds renewed. It's amazing how God has to allow stuff, because see, God don't do it, he allows it to happen. To get your attention. Because he's been telling you all these times, don't do it. Have a chance on game, you keep on going out there. Then finally, like, you know what, I'm going to take my hand back. Do what you got to do. And then when you find yourself in a situation you can't get out of, that mind get transformed in, and you start remembering your prayer. You start remembering. Listen to this. The familiar story of Jonah has astounded kids for generations. A man surviving being swallowed by, wait, he said, well, but a fish. What a miracle. Many of us remember reading a book or listening to a Sunday school teacher share Jonah's story. Y'all remember when y'all was kids? That's one of the favorite ones they pull out, talking about Jonah. But Jonah's prayer from inside the fish can inspire us with renewed hope. We're hard pressed to find any good news lately. Think about it. Disease, grief, loss, turmoil. We try our best to do good, love others, and walk humbly. But listening to what's happening in our world can send us into despair and hopelessness. We think we don't beat one strand of corona. They talking about 2 more strands don't show up. That's why it pays to cover you and your family under Psalms 91.
Amen.
If you don't know it, hey, who you get used to it and start reading it daily. The God that camps his angels around you, protect you from sickness and disease and danger seen and unseen. You need to know that. Because I don't care how much stuff show up, you can't put your confidence in man. You got to put your confidence in God to keep you and watch over you and protect you from stuff you don't even know that's out there. Because we still don't know everything out there. When you go to different countries, you got to take different shots to go to different countries. Y'all know that? When I went to Korea, I had to take different shots for Korea because they got diseases in Korea they don't have in America. When I went to Germany, I had to take different shots for Europe because they got diseases in Europe they don't have in America. Different countries, you got to take different shots. Different states. Stuff affects you differently when you go to different places. It's like when you go to different altitudes or different countries. It's hotter in Africa than it is in America. That suntan lotion from Walmart might not do no good over there with 150, 120 degrees on you. So you got to protect yourself differently. So when you did find yourself in situations like Jonah did and some of the things you find yourself in, you got to use this word to protect yourself differently. So let's focus on regaining our hope and regaining the hope you lost. Put your hope, regaining your hope in, focus on regaining the hope in the God that saved you, delivered you, and set you free. On the God that when it looked like there was no way, he kept showing up. When doors looked like every door was shut, all of a sudden you see one little crack open, you know it was God. Wasn't even no hesitation. You can't even explain how God did it, but you know it was God. You know what your credit looked like, but God. You ride out of new rides. Beep, beep, and you was walking before that. You know it was God. You recognize the favorable opportunity and you focus that if he did it for you, he can do it for me. God, and then we use the word God. You said you had no respect of persons. What you make out for one, you said you'll make out for another. God, I need you to move on my behalf. We got to focus back on them kind of moments and stop focusing on your missed moments. Because sometimes we focus on our missed moments too much because that's what the enemy wants you to do. He wants you to focus on your missed moments instead of your greater opportunities that lie ahead of you. Amen. Let me say it like this and we close. Jonah realized he could not go back to that moment and walk and do what God told him to do the first time. So he said, God, if you give me another chance, I'll do what you told me to do. Now God knew what Jonah was doing. He knew Jonah was going to go. Jonah got into the gates, told the folk, and then before he got to the gates, he was talking about it again.
Jonah did that. Oh.
You just got out the fish.
Okay, I saw.
Wasn't even 24 hours. He went and told me what God said. As soon as he turned around, he got the gate, he was talking about it again.
Still throwing himself.
See,
around.
sometimes, ooh, Lord have mercy. If this ain't talking about us, I don't know what is. Because God can be able to bless you one moment, and next moment you done forgot about it, not even a whole hour later. You done forgot about your testimony. Now you complaining. The testimony done showed up, and you done read it off again. Focus on regaining hope. Last thing we close on. Do you feel hope slipping away? Do your current circumstances leave you wondering if your efforts are worth it?
Wow.
Goodbye. You know what your current situation is. You know your circumstances. Do it make it seem like it's not even worth it? Jesus Christ is the hope, and with him we have reason never to give up. Thank God I realized that I'm a little wiser now.
Yes, God.
A little maturer now. And I know now that circumstances are supposed to show up. If they don't, that's when you need to be concerned. But I don't allow circumstance to dictate how I respond.
Amen.
That's what God's trying to get us at, to the point that we don't allow our circumstances to mess up our whole day.
Amen.
You know, even though you had a bad circumstance, you ain't got to be wearing it all on your face.
Amen.
Still be the smiling chip of you. Don't nobody know. Should nobody know when you're going through. But some folks be wrote all over your face. Though the song says written all over your face, you don't have to say a word. Remember that old school song? I think it was in the 1980s. You don't have to say a word. It's written all over your face. And I used to think about that. I'm like, that do be written. You can tell. Boy, struggle all over your forehead. Wrinkles everywhere. Ooh, you having a bad week. You know the day just Monday, right? The week just started Sunday. But it's all over their face. Like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And you got to know that's nothing but the enemy trying to make you feel like that way. You got to understand that you have the greatest hope inside of you.
Yes, God.
We just got to reach down like Jonah did and remember that God has brought you this far and he ain't never failed you yet. You only here because God's grace and mercy.
Amen.
Because we could know, I remember years ago when I got in the car wreck and Pastor flipped like 13 times. And when I called my mom and told her, she said, call your Aunt Dora. And my aunt was in Memphis, and I called her, and she said, Scott, my friend flipped one time and died. I had rolled 13. She rolled once and died. I rolled 13 and lived. And what I'm saying is, you don't never know why God allowed things to happen. Stop trying to figure out the why. And just get in the know. And know he allowed it because he's trying to get you to somewhere. Remember, the just shall live by faith. Come on, give God that type of praise.
Hallelujah.